Julian thought he was alone. He wasn't. And sometimes the most awkward moments happen inside your own home, when you let your guard down just a little too much. Welcome back to the 16th reading in the Wherefore Art Thou Journals series. If you're new here, every Thursday we explore selected passages from Romeo and Julian's private journals, the entries that were never meant for anyone else to read. Before we dive in, if you are not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can follow the journey every week. And don't miss our Monday shorts where I share sneak previews of what's coming and extra behind the scenes insights. In tonight's entry, Julian pokes a little fun at his dad's lack of experience with modern technology, and he definitely uses that to his advantage. But before that advantage kicks in, there's an awkward moment inside the house. One where Julian thinks he's alone. One where he lets his guard down. The relationship with Romeo continues to grow, and somehow Julian finds himself back at the movies, the very next night after seeing Ant-Man. Movies are one of his greatest loves, but music might be an even stronger one. Maybe one day he'll fully embrace it, but not yet. For now, he's still navigating secrecy, family expectations, and what it means to want something he's not sure he's allowed to have. Let's step into his latest entry.
Friday, February 24th, 2023. Entry by Julian. Feels like it's been forever since I wrote in this journal. Hey, it's Steve Jobs' birthday today. Thank you, Steve, for this wonderful Apple product I'm using to type this out. What an impact he had on so many lives, but it's crazy to think he's been gone for so long. I think I was around 6 years old when he passed. Even at that age, I knew what Apple products were because we had them at home. Both Mom and Dad had iPhones, and there was an iPad lying around the house. Mind you, Dad only knew the basics of how to use it. I've been thinking about which Apple device is my favorite, but that's such a hard decision. I imagine it would have to be the iPhone. Still, I use my laptop a lot too, and I know it's going to be the better option when I finally decide to start recording music, thanks to GarageBand. I mean, the app comes free on all Apple devices. It's like having your own recording studio at home. I've been experimenting with it on and off for a couple years now. It's honestly impressive, especially for a free app. I spent last weekend at JJ's house. I think I'm going to make that a regular thing. Funny enough, I ended up seeing Ant-Man again on Saturday. Didn't say a word about having seen it the night before. Pretending I hadn't already laughed at certain jokes or cheered at certain scenes was a challenge. I had to channel some Oscar-worthy acting skills for sure. Thankfully, JJ didn't suspect a thing. Turned out I was JJ's +1 for the night. Maya and her boyfriend were going, and JJ didn't want to be the third wheel. She was actually happy I wasn't free on Friday night because that made Maya and her boyfriend switch their plans to Saturday instead. Why? Apparently JJ told them she was busy Friday, and since Maya knew how much JJ wanted to see it, they accommodated her. JJ never asked what I did on Friday, which I appreciated. She's great about respecting people's privacy. My parents didn't ask any questions either once they knew I'd be with JJ over the weekend. Tonight, though, was a much quieter evening. I stayed home. Earlier this week, I told Romeo I didn't want to draw too much attention to the fact that tonight would have been my third Friday night out in a row. That definitely would have raised suspicion. It was hard not seeing Romeo, though. We texted back and forth, but it wasn't the same. For some reason, I decided to watch a movie in the family room instead of my bedroom. I think I was craving the big screen experience after the last 2 Friday nights at the theater. All I wanted was a relaxing night, and everything was going fine until my dad walked in. The rough part? I didn't even realize anyone else was home. I wasn't really thinking about my movie choice, which in hindsight was a lapse in judgment. I decided to watch Philadelphia with Tom Hanks. Not with him, of course, but the one where he stars alongside Antonio Banderas. Anyway, there I was, lying on the couch completely absorbed in this beautiful scene where Tom and Antonio are dancing together. It's such a tender, genuine moment of love between two people. Then out of nowhere, the TV turned off. I'd left the remote on the back of the couch, so I reached for it without looking, only to realize it wasn't there. That's when I turned around and saw my dad standing behind me. The look of disgust on his face wasn't surprising, but it still stung. All he said was, "This is not the kind of stuff we watch in this house." I didn't know what to say at first. So many things came to mind, but fear held me back. My blood was boiling, but all I could manage to say was, "It's just a movie." He repeated himself, "It's not the type of movie we watch in this house." "Yeah, you said that already," was all I could think. I stayed lying on the couch, trying to keep my cool. My dad took the remote with him, so I couldn't use it, but the funny thing is, he's not exactly a tech genius. The moment he was out of sight, I grabbed my phone and used the remote feature to turn the Apple TV back on. Then I hid my phone so he wouldn't notice. It took about 10 minutes to realize the TV was back on, and I could hear his footsteps storming back toward the room. Anticipating the confrontation, I quickly texted JJ to let her know what I was watching. She came in through the back door and sat on the couch with me just as Dad entered. Dad was about to lose his mind. He stormed to the front of the couch, shouting, "Julian, what did I?" but froze the second he saw JJ. His face softened immediately. My dad has a hard time looking like the bad guy in front of her and always tries to keep up the facade. I knew he'd cave as soon as he saw her. JJ smiled sweetly and asked him if he'd ever seen the movie. He stood there, stunned. I had to fight back laughter. After a long pause, he admitted he hadn't. That's when JJ launched into a mini monologue about how Philadelphia is one of Tom Hanks' finest performances. She even mentioned that without the influence of a gay teacher, Hanks thanked during his Oscar speech, we might never have had his performances in movies like Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, Apollo 13, or my dad's favorite movie, Saving Private Ryan. Dad didn't say another word. He just smiled and awkwardly left the room. As soon as he was gone, JJ turned to me and said, "If you want to watch a movie like this while living in this house, do it in your bedroom or come over to my place. You know how they are. The homophobia is just wrong, and the fact that he hides how he really feels in front of me disgusts me." Her words hit me hard. I felt this overwhelming rush of emotion and knew I was about to break. Dad had left the remote on the back of the couch, so I told JJ to pause the movie and ran to the bathroom. The moment I closed the door, I grabbed a towel, sat on the toilet, and buried my face in it. I completely broke down. I needed the towel to muffle the sound of my sobbing. I haven't felt that awful since before I met Romeo and got a glimpse of what happiness could look like once I did meet him. I screamed as quietly as I could into the towel, shaking and overwhelmed. My phone was still in my pocket, and after about 10 minutes, JJ texted to check in on me. I told her I'd be out in a few minutes. When I looked in the mirror, my eyes were red and swollen. I tried everything I could think of to make it less obvious I'd been crying, but my body was trembling, and I felt like I was on the verge of a full-blown anxiety attack. I didn't know what else to do, so I texted Romeo. To my relief, Romeo replied immediately, asking if I was okay. I lied, saying I was fine and just wanted to say hi. It felt like he knew I wasn't being truthful because he sent back a funny gif of a cat strutting on its back legs. That got me laughing, which was exactly what I needed to snap back to reality. Then he sent me a selfie with those beautiful eyes of his. It was the perfect distraction. Just as I started feeling a little calmer, JJ texted me again to check in. I replied with "second wave," and she laughed, saying, "Fair enough." She knew exactly what I meant. Honestly, anyone would have. I told Romeo I was in the bathroom and joked that sending a selfie wouldn't be appropriate. He was fine with that. After washing my face, which helped a little, I zipped into my bedroom, took a quick selfie for Romeo, grabbed one of my small blankets, and headed back downstairs. JJ was waiting for me, pretending to be patient but clearly not. The second she saw my blanket, she asked where hers was. I was prepared. I pulled out a second blanket and covered her up. I plopped down on the couch, and she immediately said, "What, no popcorn?" That delayed us even further. While making popcorn in the kitchen, I sent Romeo another selfie and told him JJ and I were having a movie night. He replied with a quick thumbs up, saying he was having a movie night with his mom. When I asked what they were watching, he said Philadelphia. My jaw nearly hit the floor. I couldn't believe it. I dashed back to the family room, snapped a picture of the pause movie on the screen, and sent it to him. He laughed and said we were too in sync. He even started talking about synchronicities, which was wild because, seriously, what are the odds?
And that's where we'll pause for tonight. What stands out in this entry isn't just the humor, though Julian definitely uses that to survive uncomfortable moments. It's the contrast. On one hand, he's clever. He finds ways around his dad's tech limitations. He protects his secret. On the other hand, that protection comes at a cost. There's a reason he hides, and his father's presence, even when subtle, reinforces that reason. The reference to Philadelphia is important. At the time, it was groundbreaking, a film that brought a gay relationship into the mainstream with depth and humanity. Julian sees that kind of love and wants it, but inside his own home, he feels like that version of life might never be possible. And that realization, it hurts. JJ continues to be his fierce protector, the courage he doesn't quite have yet. And Romeo, quietly, is becoming a different kind of strength for him. But when Julian retreats into that bathroom, he doesn't fully open up. Not yet. That's what makes this stage of the story so layered. The love is growing. The desire is there, but the fear hasn't loosened its grip. And eventually, something will have to give. Now, thanks for stopping by. If you're enjoying these deeper looks into Julian's internal world, take a second to like the video. It truly helps this series reach new readers. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss next week's entry. And Let me know in the comments. What movie do you think was groundbreaking and why? And if you want the full story, including everything I don't read here, you can order Wherefore Art Thou Journals Volume 1 through the links in the description or at romeoandjulian.com. Until next Thursday, keep your heart open, your journal close, and your story unfolding.